Most people think emergency broadcasts are recorded only after disasters happen. Tornadoes, wildfires, terror attacks. But 3 months ago, an emergency broadcast aired across my entire county before anyone had recorded it. And the voice warning everyone was mine. My name is Evan Brooks. I worked the night shift at Black Ridge Emergency Broadcast Station, a place most people didn't even know existed. The station sat alone, nearly 40 miles outside town. No neighbors, no traffic, just pine forests, mountains, and miles of silence. My job was simple: check transmitters, monitor equipment, test backup generators. If a real emergency happened, I'd activate the county's emergency broadcast system. Most nights, nothing happened. Sometimes, I didn't hear another human voice for 12 straight hours. Every midnight, station policy required one routine system test. It lasted exactly 15 seconds. I pressed one button. The system would verify every transmitter. And that was it. I'd done it hundreds of times, until the night the system answered back. I pressed the test button. The monitor flashed. Signal accepted. Normal. Then, every screen in the room went black. 5 seconds passed. 10. 15. Suddenly, every speaker inside the station came alive. I expected static. Instead, I heard someone take a deep breath. Then, a voice began speaking. Calm, clear, familiar. If you're hearing this, do not answer the knock. At exactly 12:13 a.m., my blood ran cold, because I recognized that voice immediately. It was mine, and I had never recorded those words. I checked the recording server immediately. Every broadcast, every test, every transmission was automatically archived. The file had a timestamp, 11:43 p.m., 17 minutes before I had even started my shift. According to the system, someone had uploaded the recording before I arrived. But tonight, I was the only person in the building. I opened the security camera system. 6 cameras covered the station. Front entrance, generator room, tower base, hallway, equipment room, roof access. Every camera showed exactly what I expected. Empty rooms, empty hallways, until camera 4 blinked. I replayed the footage, frame by frame. Nothing. Then, for exactly 1 frame, someone appeared, standing at the end of the hallway, looking directly at the camera, before disappearing again. I froze the image. My stomach dropped. He wasn't wearing a uniform. He was wearing my jacket. My phone buzzed. It was my supervisor. Routine check. I answered immediately. Before I could say anything, he interrupted me. Evan, why are you broadcasting on every emergency frequency? I felt my heart stop. I hadn't touched the transmitter. I rushed into the transmission room. Every indicator was glowing red. The emergency channel was live, but nobody was speaking. At least, not anymore. Then, a printer behind me suddenly started running. I hadn't printed anything. Sheet after sheet fell onto the floor. Every page contained the same sentence. Do not answer the door. I looked at the wall clock. 12:12 a.m. Exactly 1 minute remained. The station became completely silent. Even the ventilation system stopped. I could hear my own heartbeat. Then, the digital clock changed. 12:13. 3 slow knocks echoed through the front entrance. I didn't move. Then the station speakers turned on one last time. My voice whispered, "Whatever happens, don't let it see you looking." The knock stopped. I stood perfectly still. Every instinct told me to look through the window, but my own voice had warned me not to. 30 seconds passed. Then, the emergency lights switched on by themselves. Red, flashing slowly. The station looked completely different, like it had aged decades in just a few seconds. Every monitor powered on. None of them showed the security cameras anymore. They were showing recordings, different people, different years, every one of them sitting in this exact control room, listening to the exact same broadcast. One by one, every recording ended the same way. 3 knocks, silence, empty chair. I searched the station archives. Hidden beneath old maintenance files, I found a sealed folder. Black Ridge Incident. The documents were over 40 years old. According to the report, the emergency station had been built over the site of an experimental military signal project. During one test, engineers claimed they received radio transmissions from 24 hours in the future. The project was shut down, but the station was never abandoned. That's when I understood. The broadcast wasn't coming from the past. It wasn't coming from a ghost. It was coming from tomorrow. The voice on the speakers was mine, because tomorrow I would record it. Suddenly, every light in the station went out. Complete darkness. Then, someone outside the front door spoke. Calmly, "Evan, it's safe now." It was my voice. Again. I knew, if I opened that door, whatever happened tomorrow would happen tonight instead. So I stayed where I was. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Finally, the voice stopped. The emergency lights came back on. Everything looked normal again. Except one thing. Sitting on the broadcast console was a digital recorder. It hadn't been there before. A single red light blinked. The display showed, "Recording complete." I pressed play. It was my voice, saying every word, from the warning that had started the night. I don't remember recording it. Maybe I will tomorrow.